evening. All right, we're going to get this party started tonight. So I want to welcome you to the 2023 Brentwood Youth Philanthropy Initiative Finals. Round of applause is appropriate. The fourth group that's going to speak to you tonight is for the Cowichan Hospice.
Imagine you are approaching the end of your life, whether it's from cancer or some other illness. Would you rather spend that time in a busy hospital surrounded by strangers, or in a hospice house, where the medical staff builds relationships with you and personalizes your care? This is Rock. He volunteered at Cowichan Hospice for many years, offering one-on-one aid and grief support. Unfortunately, Rock later on became a patient himself, being unexpectedly diagnosed with cancer.
Before his untimely passing earlier this year, he describes what Cowichan Hospice does from the perspective of both patient and a worker, explaining how palliative care is much more necessary than people think. I'm T.
I'm Hillary.
I'm P.
And I'm Sterling. We are the representatives of Cowichan Hospice.
One of Rock's biggest fears is being sick and alone. They don't treat me like I'm sick. I am much more comfortable with the fear is gone, Rock recounts. His words demonstrate the goal of palliative care. Not only does it focus on the patient's physical health, it also supports their mental health.
Now let's talk about this on a global scale. We must acknowledge the lack of hospice houses. According to OECD Health, there will be 70 million people in need of hospice care by the year 2035. An estimated number of 56.8 million people worldwide need palliative care each year. Out of these millions of people, only 14% gain access to their needed care.
This means that only 7 out of 50 people have the opportunity to seek both physical and mental care for their terminal illnesses. This does not even begin to cover the patient's family and friends and their need for grief support. Within these estimates, it's still dependent on whether the country offers hospice care or not. Looking at this problem on an international scale, we can see that although Canada offers hospice care, it is still far too overlooked to make a big impact.
Within Canada's proximity, only 16 to 30% of people who die each year receive palliative care, which proves the need for palliative care within BC.
Because the need for palliative care is increasing worldwide, Canada is working to support this issue. Now let's focus on the problem locally, in the Cowichan area. Rural areas often have a shortage of caregivers available, which affects how much the charity impacts the community. This is the same case for Cowichan, as it lacks palliative care and faces challenges ranging from a shortage of beds to insufficient political attention.
As our local population continues to grow and the need for healthcare increases, the shortage of hospice has become a pressing issue, and it will not get better if we don't take action now.
Some ways that Cowichan Hospice has been helping the community is by offering grief support in the form of one-on-one or group sessions. They admit patients to the hospice house or send care workers over to their own homes. Cowichan Hospice also provides therapy and grief support for the care workers, as they know it can be overwhelming and emotional to treat a dying person. This graph shows the number of people who have used Cowichan Hospice's services from Duncan, Cobble Hill, and Mill Bay over the course of 4 years.
The second graph shows the number of total patients from 2017 to 2022. As you can see, the numbers range from 628 to 986. Cowichan Hospice has made a big impact on our community, treating around 800 patients a year.
To shed light on Cowichan Hospice's backstory, we'll expand on its upcoming. This charity was founded in 1981 by 3 women who met in each other's homes, church kitchens, and small meeting rooms, discussing and planning for Cowichan's very own hospice.
Their names are Biddy Worsley, Anne Springford, and Joanne Robinson. In 1981, the Cowichan Valley Hospice Society became a legal organization. From their own homes to the basement of City Hall, and finally to their very own yellow house, Cowichan Hospice has continued to grow over the last 39 years. It is important to credit the donations and volunteers as well, as they were a necessary factor for growth.
Cowichan Hospice's revenue increased throughout 2017 to 2020, but majorly increased in 2020 with over $4 million in revenue and $3,300,000 of it was donated. It then drastically decreased in 2021.
This chart shows Cowichan Hospice's financial situation in 2020. Most of their funding came from donations, and their total revenue in 2020 was $830,000. As you can see, this charity is very dependent on their donations, which they have been receiving less and less of. This $5,000 would allow them to continue and grow their programs.
In our interview, Monica Kawaka, the executive director of Cowichan Hospice, explains how they would invest the prize money into improving current programs such as a grief support program and a palliative care program.
They are also planning to create a new program. Ms. Monica says that grief with children is often an overlooked issue. Cowichan Hospice will develop a new program specifically as a long-term solution to this problem. The $5,000 would be used to train volunteers for grief support with children. It would also be used to develop new facilities, such as a colorful therapy room with toys, or fund transportation to different schools to educate students about grief. Cowichan Hospice also has a free library called the Lending Library, which has multiple books about grieving for adults. With this funding, they could create a lending library with children's books as well.
If handled with warmth and understanding, a child's early experience with the death of someone loved can be an opportunity to learn about life and living, as well as death and dying. This emphasizes how teaching children about grief early on can influence how they deal with death later in life. While the hospice care offered by Cowichan Hospice has fees, they can be waived as their top priority, as if the patient is comfortable. This charity believes in every person's worth and that they deserve palliative care, ultimately resulting in them ignoring a patient's financial situation.
As you can see from all these reasons, Cowichan Hospice is a solution to the shortage of hospice care within BC. This charity is deserving of the prize money because it provides passing people with comfort as well as care and grief support for their loved ones.
From people dealing with grief, overwhelmed care workers, and people not having access to their needed care, Cowichan Hospice is working non-stop to support these issues.
Because Cowichan Hospice is receiving fewer and fewer donations, this $5,000 would greatly increase the number of people receiving palliative care, as the charity's programs would expand and improve.
One can only imagine a world where society has a fully developed palliative care program. Every person in the community, no matter what societal class they are in, would receive personalized care and can comfortably pass away. It is necessary to recognize that nobody can choose whether or not they develop an illness, and thus life can be extremely unfair. No matter how developed hospital care can be, there are still some illnesses that cannot be cured, and no one deserves to live out an inevitable death alone and isolated in places such as your local hospital.
From having family and friends support you, to spending time with the grandchildren whom you won't be able to see grow up, every moment counts. And Cowichan Hospice ensures that these moments are made accessible to you and your family. Even if you are not affected by such an unfortunate turn of events personally, other people in the world are. We plead that you take these words into consideration and donate to Cowichan Hospice to improve hospice care in BC. We are all human, and we are all deserving of the best end-of-life care.
Thank you.
All right, our judges have made a decision. You ready to hear it? Okay, so let's bring out the whole team. Come on.
All right, so the first thing I want to say is all of you should be very, very proud of yourselves for the effort you've put in. And so I want to give one more round of applause, but not just to the finalists, but to everyone for your efforts. I can't believe it was 3 years ago that I was competing in YPI. The time has flown by, and it will for all of you too. So it was really a pleasure to come and judge tonight.
We're so proud of you all, and thank you so much for having us at your YPI presentations tonight. Just know that your hard work has not gone unnoticed, and you made this decision very, very tough for us.
And your winner for the Meta 9 2023 YPI Challenge is, drumroll please,